So, the Chovos Halevavos in Shara Bechina tells us and discusses in a lot of detail how the Rabbeinu Shalom created the world in the most perfect proportion, with exactly according to the needs of mankind. Okay, listen to this idea of the Chovos Halevavos. Okay, it's brought down in Shara Bechina Hey. And he gives an example. He says, there's no way that a person can live in this world for even a short amount of time without air. It's impossible. You need air. Therefore, in correspondent to that need, the Rebbeinu Shalom created air available all the time, wherever you go. There is almost, right, obviously there are some places, but there's almost no places in the world that you go to that just don't have air. Why? Because the need of it is so high. Therefore, the Rebbeinu Shalom created the availability to be in accordance with the need. Now, moving on, says the Chovos Halevavos, water. Now, water is something that's also very much needed, but it's obviously not as essential as air. It's very essential, but we all agree, right, that it's not as essential as air. So therefore, the Rebbeinu Shalom created sources of water all over the world, readily available, but not as available as air. Food, also very necessary, but obviously not as necessary as water and air, and a little bit more difficult, slightly more difficult to attain. And there's a lot of food in the world. There's fruits and vegetables just growing in the trees, but although it's not being withheld, but slightly more difficult to find. Clothing, right, made of, obviously we're talking about things of leather or wool or linen or whatever, is somewhat less essential and therefore a little bit harder to attain because it's not needed to the same degree, right? Gold and silver, pearls, diamonds, they're available, but they're not so necessary. They're much less necessary than everything we've said, which means they're much less available. Okay? Explains the Chovos Halevavos. Understand how the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world in a way that whatever we need in a big level, we have. And it's readily available whenever we want it. The things that we need less, then we don't have them so less. It means the Rebbeinu Shalom has given everything we need in the amount, in the proportion that we need it. We'll never be lacking that which we actually need. Says the Alter from Kelm, Simcha Zissel, that if that is true in the physical world, in how the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world with air and water, with everything else, how much more so is it true also in the spiritual? And that means the things that we need most to sustain us are readily available with the greatest abundance. And the most essential spiritual need of every human being, of every Yid especially, explains the Alter of Kelm, is Emunah. Because you cannot live without Emunah. I mean, you can live, but the life that you're going to live is going to be very, very, very much tainted. And therefore, if Emunah is something that you require just to basically live, then it means it's available in abundance. It means it's available on a much higher level, and it's always there, but you have to find it. You have to tap into it. And that is something that we're trying to get to understand and to make sure that we know that we have. Now, we have to understand as well, there's a Mordechai Yisod from Reb Nachman of Breslov. He brings down such a beautiful idea in the Kutim Maran. He says that the Rebbeinu Shalom always calls out to a person. The Rebbeinu Shalom always calls out to the person. The question is whether or not we listen to that call. We've mentioned it once before from the Balatanya. The Heilige Balatanya brings down that we know that Odom Arishan was kind of spoken to by the Rebbeinu Shalom Kaviyachol with Ayeka, where are you? And the Mefarshim say what the Rebbeinu Shalom needed to ask Odom, where are you? The Rebbeinu Shalom sees everything. He didn't say, Odom, can you just tell me where you are, please? It wasn't like in a shopping store, can you tell me which store you're in? It wasn't like that, Ayeka, where are you? What does that mean? He was just trying to get into conversation. Rashi brings down, the Balatani explains that the Rebbeinu Shalom calls out to every single one of us. He calls out to every single one of us in different forms. And the question is, do we respond to that call or not? Sometimes we bang our foot. Sometimes something happens to us. We have challenges in life. We have hiccups along the way. We have hurdles that we have to cross. And the question is, how do we look at that? Because as we've said many times before, there's no such thing as something bad. There's no such thing as situations that are not good. They are opportunities. And the question is how we look at them and how we judge them. What are they opportunities for? To get closer to Hashem. Hashem is beckoning us. Hashem wants us. Hashem wants the relationship. Do we respond? Do we reciprocate? Do we say, Rebbeinu Shalom, I heard you. I heard the call. I'm answering the call. I'm here. This is where I am. And really and truly, every single person has to think to themselves, do they listen to that call? Are they listening to the Rebbeinu Shalom say, Ayeka, where are you? Where are you? How have you fallen so far, deep, away, distant from me? The Rebbeinu Shalom wants every single one of us. When a person works on his emunah, when a person works on that deep belief, on that deep loyalty, as we explained, so there's no such thing as a stumbling block. Oh no, why is that happening to me? Oh, I can't believe that happened. Oh, the business deal went down. Oh, I lost that money. Oh, I forgot this thing over there. Oh, this happened to me. There's no such thing. Everything is emunah. We look in the world, everything is emunah. People are upset with themselves. People live lives where they're upset and they're depressed. Why? Because if only I had this, and if only Hashem made me this way, or if only I would... There's no if only. The Rebbeinu Shalom, and we have to believe this by Emunah Shlema, created every single one of us the way that we are meant to be created. With the parents that we had, with the schooling that we had, with the rebbeim that we have, believe it or not, in many cases, yes, that sometimes is the situation. Sometimes we had to go through a bad education and bad situations so that we can come out the other way much stronger. And you find this, by the way, by people, that they struggled, whether it's at home, whether it's in school, whether it's academically, physically, mentally, whatever it is, they come out much stronger. Maybe tonight we'll speak a little bit more about it with the parasha share, but the idea is that if a person has emunah, he's happy with who he is. He's happy with where he's come from, his upbringing, his parents, his environment, everything. Because this is how Hashem created me. This is who I am. You all know the famous Maisa of, I think it was the Rebbe Reb Zisha. But the Rebbe Reb Zisha was once saying, can you imagine if I would have the head of the Briskerov, and imagine I've had to have he was going through all the big people and saying, if I had their brains and their strength and their ability, and this one's concentration, and this one's asmada, then I would be the best person in the world. But that wouldn't be me. I want to be me. Because Hashem created me to be me. And sometimes, so many times, we're looking at other people and other people's lives and other people's happiness, in inverted commas, because we think they're happy, but no one really knows. Right? No one really knows. So that, the people post pictures of themselves nowadays on all sorts of social media things. People get married, they send pictures, and everyone's like, wow, they're so happy, I wish. Little do you know what's going on behind closed doors. Okay, and I'm unfortunately, I'm saying that dealing with a lot of people, this is what happens. And I've heard it from people, I want to be happy like them. And obviously everything's confidential, so I'm like, they're not happy. They just look happy and they post pictures of when they're happy. Right? They only post the happy pictures, they don't post anything else. People are looking at other people's lives. Technology, it doesn't help for that whatsoever, we know that. But at the end of the day, emunah helps. If we have true emunah in the Rebbeinu Shalom, we really trust in Hashem. We know that whatever Hashem does is what we need. We have a purpose in the world. The Rebbeinu Shalom created us. Why? To do something, to accomplish. Nobody else could accomplish what you could accomplish. That means the Rebbeinu Shalom saw fit to create you, because you are going to bring something into the world that nobody else can bring into the world. That's an amazing thing. Wake up in the morning and say, wow, the Rebbeinu Shalom created me with all of my qualities, with all of my strengths, with all of my weaknesses also, with the upbringing that I had, with all the experiences I went through, with the environment I'm in, because I'm me, and I can be the best person that I can be, and I can become something great in whatever it may be. That's emunah. Everything is emunah. Says Rav Nachman Breslov, we're being called every day. Sometimes the Rebbeinu Shalom calls it in a good way. Sometimes we need a bit more of a nudge. And Hashem stubs our toe. And if that doesn't work, He gives us a this. Whatever it could be, Rahman al we don't want anything. But sometimes the Rebbeinu Shalom says, you need a bit of a wake-up call. It's not going to work. Sometimes you tell a bocha, listen, if you don't do anything, then maybe you just have to go back to America. It's not a threat. It's a way of trying, come on, seriously. Get up and do something. You're on this world for a purpose. What are you doing here? Everything comes from Emunah. And that's, again, something that we keep on pushing ourselves and realizing that everything is in Emunah. If we would strengthen our Emunah, we'd be such different people. We really would. We'd be completely different people. Rabbi Yisrael Chaim Sonnenfeld once dreamt that he won the lottery numbers. Now, he once dreamt that he had the lottery numbers. So somebody who actually bought a lottery ticket, because he didn't, he told him over the dream and didn't tell him the lottery numbers. But he said, listen, I think I have the lottery numbers. Could you do me a favor? Would you sell me your ticket? Sell me your ticket. You bought a ticket, I didn't buy a ticket. Would you sell me the ticket? So imagine if I went to you and you bought a lottery ticket, right? You could win, let's make it easy. You could win $1,000. $1,000. You know what? I'll buy the ticket off you for $950. Most people would sell it. Why? Because they don't really believe they're going to win. Now, what if you had a dream that you're going to win? You had a dream that tonight's the lottery thing, you're going to be winning. And you got that $1,000 ticket possibility, and someone says, before the lottery is called, I'll buy it for $9.50, you're going to sell it?
Yeah.
Probably. But you had a dream you're going to win. You're so sure you're going to win. It was so real, it was like going to happen.
So 1% chance.
It's a 1% chance you're going to do it.
$50, Rebbe?
So,
$50.
Excuse me,
Oh.
this is the 90.
so the Emunah that we're looking for is not Emunah 95%. We're not looking for Emunah that maybe, if not, maybe. No. We're looking to work to eventually get to the goal where we believe Emunah Shlema, where our whole life is Emunah in Hashem 1,000%. There isn't a suffix, there isn't anything. That when anything happens, by the way, do you realize, we spoke about this last time, how easy, how calming, how tranquil your life will be if you have pure Emunah in Hashem? You'll never be upset ever again. You'll never get angry. I can't believe that guy did this to me. Well, he didn't do it to you. Hashem did it to you. He was the messenger. We get angry at so many things. The Rambam talks about this in the beginning of Hilchos Deis Perek Sheni, where he says, how do you get angry at something if you know everything comes from Hashem? The Rambam says you don't know it comes from Hashem. So if you work on this yesod, and you work on this idea that everything comes to the Rebbeinu Shalom, everything can change. Tomorrow we'll continue.